Back in the summer of 2019, my girlfriend, Vanessa, and I decided to get away for a long weekend. We rented a vacation house along the coast of North Carolina through a rental website. The property sat at the edge of a quiet stretch of shoreline, far away from the crowded tourist areas. The backyard opened directly onto a narrow strip of dunes that led straight to the ocean. The place looked like something out of a magazine. There was a large deck overlooking the water, a heated pool, and almost no neighboring houses within sight. It felt like we had the entire beach to ourselves. For the first day and a half, everything was perfect. We spent our mornings swimming and our afternoons stretched out on beach chairs under the sun. The few people we saw were joggers passing along the shoreline. Late on our second afternoon, we were gathering our towels and cooler before heading back inside. As I looked toward the house, something caught my attention. One of the upstairs windows reflected the sunlight, but behind the reflection I thought I saw a person standing motionless. I stared for several seconds. The shape didn't move. I pointed it out to Vanessa and asked if she saw it too. By the time she looked, the figure seemed to be gone. Convinced someone might have entered the house, I hurried back across the sand and went inside. I checked every room upstairs, looked under beds, opened closets, and searched every corner. Nothing. The house was empty. I eventually convinced myself it had been a trick of the sunlight after spending hours outside. That night we went into town for dinner and drinks. Since it was our final evening there, we stayed out later than we had planned. When we returned close to midnight, the house was completely dark. The lights wouldn't turn on. None of the appliances had power either. We searched around for a breaker panel but couldn't find one. Neither of us felt like calling the property owner so late, so we grabbed our phones and headed upstairs. Vanessa fell asleep quickly. I couldn't. The house felt different somehow. Maybe it was the darkness. Maybe it was the silence. I was lying awake staring at the ceiling when I heard footsteps in the hallway. At first I thought it was part of a dream. Then I heard them again. Slow. Deliberate. I sat up. A shadow passed across the crack beneath the bedroom door. Every hair on my arm stood up. Someone was walking through the hallway. I quietly climbed out of bed and moved toward the door. Before I reached it, the footsteps stopped directly outside. Then came a knock. 3 slow taps. I froze. A man's voice spoke from the other side. Maintenance. I came to check the electrical problem. The explanation made no sense. Nobody had been called. Nobody knew the power was out. I immediately locked the bedroom door. The person outside tried the handle. The knob rattled violently. Then came another knock. Harder this time. Vanessa woke up and sat upright. What was that? I whispered for her to call 911. The man outside began pushing against the door. The frame shook. He kept insisting he was there to fix the power. We stayed silent while waiting for help. After several long seconds, everything became quiet. No footsteps. No voice. Nothing. The police arrived about 15 minutes later. They searched the house and property but found no one. One officer discovered that the electrical panel had been manually switched off from outside near a storage shed behind the house. The following morning, we packed our things and left immediately. Later that day I finally reached the property owner. He told me he had been out of state for nearly a month and had never sent anyone to the house. To this day, I still wonder who was walking through that hallway in complete darkness.